Developed and operated mainly by foreign capital, Chile's mines yield up the metal-bearing ores.
The history of ammonia-based fertilizer is marked by a multitude of unprecedented events, war and economic crises.
The major powers launched the war nobody wanted. It was to be the most devastating of all time.
When World War I erupted, Britain cut off Germany's access to Chilean nitrates, another vital source of nitrogen used to make explosives.
Deserts rich in nitrates and mountains rich in copper ores. Chile possesses both.
A few years earlier, in 1909, German chemist Fritz Haber had discovered a way to make ammonia by combining nitrogen and hydrogen. This process, later known as the Haber-Bosch method. It would change both warfare and agriculture forever. Inventions from the industrial revolutions were beginning to reshape the world in unprecedented ways. By October 1930, BASF, the largest chemical company at the time, was under the leadership of Karl Bosch.
Synthetic substitutes have deprived Chile of its former monopoly, but the nitrate plants are still an important factor
Scientists
in the national
worldwide
economy.
were racing to find ways to convert atmospheric nitrogen into a form that plants could use, as nitrogen in the air is extremely stable and unreactive. BASF aimed to make this conversion viable on both an industrial and commercial scale. But the process was slow and inefficient without a metal catalyst. Bosch's breakthrough came when he discovered an iron-based catalyst, enhanced with small amounts of elements like potassium and aluminium that could withstand demanding conditions of the reactions and speed up production to industrial levels. These advancements led BASF to establish the world's first ammonia plant in Untold, Germany. With mass production underway, researchers continued experimenting with additional catalysts and promoters to further improve efficiency. By the 1960s, fertilizer use had already spread worldwide. Equipment manufacturers weren't about to sit on the sidelines. They began creating machinery to apply this booming product. In fact, in the 1960s, companies like John Deere were launching fertilizer spreading equipment. Big names like BASF and DuPont were heavily invested in fertilizer because the business was booming, literally turning air into money. Solid fertilizers were rapidly gaining popularity amongst farmers and extension services. According to insiders, the business model was straightforward. A product rep would show up at the farm in the front door, knock, leave a sample with you to try on a portion of your field. Within days, farmers would return back to their fields and plants would look healthier and stronger. Farmers were amazed by the results and quickly came back wanting more. At the same time, demand for animal products, milk, eggs, and meat was rising, prompting farmers to expand and diversify into livestock production. Their traditional nitrogen source, manure, was increasingly being used to grow feed for animals. However, NPK fertilizer offered a way to grow additional crops without running out of manure, and also gave crop-only farmers access to nutrients they never had before. From there, more fertilizer blends and brands combinations emerged, fueling mass production of field and row crops worldwide. But we'll pause here. We'll explore this story further in the video. As mass production of grains like maize, wheat, and soybeans took off, crop science companies benefited enormously, especially seed giants such as Monsanto, Syngenta, and Pioneer. Seed producers knew they had money and influence, but if they wanted to rival a powerhouse like BASF, the company behind the Haber-Bosch Process, they needed more than incremental progress. They had to reinvent crop science itself to impress shareholders on Wall Street and truly revolutionize agriculture. There were two ways to do this: breeding crops with traits like disease and drought tolerance, or by modifying plant genes to enhance those traits. In the early 1990s, Monsanto achieved a major breakthrough through crop protection research, developing the first Bt cotton, Bollgard 1. This genetically modified cotton was engineered to produce its own pest-fighting mechanism. This was a major breakthrough for Monsanto because they were about to disrupt the traditional pesticide market. This was a major breakthrough because it was the moment they've been waiting for, releasing a product that has never existed before. And with this, growers would no longer need to apply insecticides in large volumes because it had a Bt trait. Bt stands for Bacillus thuringiensis, a naturally occurring soil bacterium. This natural origin made Bt technology widely acceptable. It effectively controlled pests such as bollworms, a major problem for cotton producers at the time. Before Bollgard 1, farmers used to spread concentrated Bt powders across their fields to keep pests in check. Around the same time, Bt maize was released, and in places like the United States, pesticide use dropped by up to 90%, a huge success for the technology at the time, and a lot of money was rolling in Monsanto's balance sheet. Around the same time, however, scientists warned that pests could develop resistance to Bollgard 1 within 5 to 7 years, unless a follow-up product would be released. Bollgard 2. Researchers like Randy Dutton and David Fishoff consulted with insect specialists and proposed a novel solution, planting a refugee alongside Bt cotton. Farmers were advised to plant about 80% Bt cotton and 20% non-GMO cotton. The refuge allowed some insects to survive without exposure to the Bt cotton trait, slowing down the evolution of resistance. By the 2000s, crop science innovations and products were adopted swiftly across the globe. Many assessments even showed that since the 1960s, nitrogen use efficiency had dropped to just 47%. In other words, if applications weren't applied precisely, more than half of the fertilizer applied could be lost instead of ending up in the harvested crop. A new race had begun: precision agriculture. To tackle these application challenges, protect natural resources, and ensure inputs matched crop needs, leading agricultural companies realized that they had to join this race. Not only to make money, but to also solve these problems and also to build trust with consumers and producers. This shift led to big business making big bets on the next big thing: data. Technologies of precision agriculture, digital platforms, and analyticals became the new frontier. Platforms like FieldView, formerly known as ClimateCorp, began taking the center stage, promising breakthroughs in soil testing and crop science and yield monitoring. This we'll get and dive deep to it on our next video. Stay tuned.